Hello, everybody. Let's get this show started. Okay, I am not sure if anyone can hear me, so let's get Jim into the stream as well.
Please call me Vancouver.
Are you there? Did you make it?
Refer to me as Vancouver, please. Were you born in Winnipeg?
There we go. There's your welcome music.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's very me.
All right,
Me with my Dan Harmon-like beard and none of the intelligence.
Oh, don't say that. So before we get started here, I guess I'll give first of all, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for making it out today. We've got a few viewers. We already got a thumbs up and a few folks, which is good. And Jim, are you actually in Vancouver, or are you just referring to yourself as Vancouver?
Did you even watch the movie? Sorry, let me rephrase that. Did you even watch the movie Winnipeg? I almost didn't put Jim in brackets because I thought that would be kind of fun.
Well,
but,
that I think then kind of tells us what we're going to be talking about tonight is having some fun at the expense of Zombieland Double Tap. Before I tee up the I'll tee up the oh, you know that thing. It's called a trailer. And then right after the trailer, Jim, I'll tell you the tale of how we got our first copyright claim on our show.
Oh, really?
Time to nut up or shut up.
Welcome to Zombieland. We were a family. Dysfunctional, sure, but what family isn't?
Oh, God. Hey, Possum, eh?
Sorry, just you in that chair.
I think I would have made a damn fine president.
You would have brought a real dignity to the office.
Whoa! Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Hi, I'm Columbus.
Madison.
This is Tallahassee.
Is this your dad? Can I see?
Yeah.
The old man is so tiny. No, you're not. No, you are. No, you're not. No, you are.
Can you see that?
My sister is gone. She picked up the boy.
We're gonna go get her. We ride it, Dawn. Die, zombie! No! That's my ride! Oh, my apologies, little Elvis.
Okay, is it me or does he kind of remind you of...
I don't like you at all. I think you double parked. Or more perpendicular parked. Hope we don't get a ticket.
What is going on here?
What?
Hello, everyone.
Am I hallucinating?
They wrote it, Dawn, Jim.
They did.
So before we get into the meat of it, the log line that I can tell, though you can't really tell from that trailer. And I did cut some of it up front just to kind of speed it up, but it's 10 years later. This family of choice kind of broke. The youngest son ran off with a boy. And they said, well, we'll have to set aside our differences to come together to go rescue her. And that's really, there's the log line of the movie.
Well, yeah, and I had said, well, I just said, and they lived happily ever after, or did they? You know, just sort of a lot of times when you see the full story, the ending kind of, you know, it's when the couple decides to marry, for instance, or when there's some perceived ending. But of course, you know, in real life, things it's like the end of The Graduate when Dustin Hoffman is sitting in the back of the bus with the woman, well, his girl, who is going to get married to another guy, and they just sort of sit there and they have nothing to say. So it's sort of just a continuation of you know, they survived. Yeah. What happened next, basically? So, so what? One of the things I've been meaning to do is ask you more questions because you always have questions for me. Are you much of a zombie guy?
You know what? It's still about the only horror film I can watch now.
Yeah.
I used to have a bit of a range when I was younger, but now it's just one of the few ones where I'm like kind of I don't get quite as uncomfortable. Partly, I think even the really super scary ones, the more on the gore horror side, are still kind of ridiculous. There's a point of, okay, we're not taking this too seriously, are we? Because like, come on.
Yeah,
you know, and so actually I think that's why, even though notwithstanding Overlord, the second movie we took a look at, it really is, I think the only zombie movies you can make now are comedies. You know, they never were able to make any of those Resident Evil movies really work. Although I enjoyed the first couple, and eventually I'll watch the last one because, you know, apparently I feel like I need to. But yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'd say, yeah, for the short answer to your question, Jim, is yes, I can get into zombie movies. I'd say I'm a zombie movie guy, which will explain, or at least, you know, let's say you'll understand my comments later as we dive deeper into it. But
okay.
You know,
and so what's the copyright story as you take? Holy cow, your can's invisible!
Look at that! It's
oh my gosh!
Oh, for crying out loud! It must be this green. Must be like that this off green is perfect for my. You know what? I'm fine with that. I think it adds to the effect.
Yeah, exactly. That's super cool.
I was in such I can't believe it. Like, I was prepared, Jim. And maybe before we get into the questions parts, I'll give a quick synopsis. But I really was prepared. I've got banners going. I got it all. And then it's like, damn it, I don't have the green screen thing I wanted back here.
No.
Such is life.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what
copyright?
Like, as far as copyright. Yeah. The last movie we watched, Wave, I pretty much, like, I got it off of YouTube, but I inserted, as we started doing, the trailer, right? And I guess the automated system, you know, identified a minute and said, hey, you know what? You got a claim on it. Now, all it really means, you don't have to, you got a couple of choices. You could take the whole thing down, but you don't have to. You're not penalized in any way. Or you can leave it as is. But any income earned off the video will go to them. Now, yeah, exactly. Suckers. You get a nickel out of this. Or you can dispute it. And I disputed it. Like, I mean, not, you know, in some, because the way that system's set up, it's very much the copyright holder claims it, and then the copyright holder decides if they'll allow your dispute. You know, they review that.
Okay.
YouTube has nothing to do with it.
That's interesting.
Which, well, it's part of a knock-on of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Yeah. Down in the States, and everyone's in compliance with that. But yeah, I felt that, you know, yeah, our use of these trailers and that, it really firmly falls within fair use in the United States, fair dealing in Commonwealth countries. And actually, it was a UK company that claimed the copyright. So I wrote a polite email, said, hey, you know what? We're not trying to hustle anything here. 2 minutes of our 88-minute video is a trailer about the movie we're talking about. Yeah. And, you know, we're not using the trailer as some sort of, you know, like false representation that we're somehow attached to the film or endorsing it in any way. It was polite and respectful and saying, yeah, I think this is fair use. And a day and a half later, copyright claims gone.
Okay.
There's a part of me, honestly, Jim, really suspected that they were, how do I put this? Somebody who has to review those things, because I suspect they can't just automate their review of those claims. Yeah. Somebody looked at the wall. Did we actually own the wall? Who the hell's Oh, 2 minutes. Oh my God, they talked about the movie almost as long as it was. yeah, I think we're all right. We can let this one go,
Well,
Jim.
on the other
it's
hand,
England.
so they would
Jonathan
claim they would claim some money if we made money from this. What if it cost us money? Could we send them a bill? Just this.
Well,
we decided to choose your movie. It's your fault that we assume these costs.
yeah. Yeah, I don't.
There's a bill for $10.
I don't see us getting away with that one, but
No.
you know what? Good try, Jim.
That would be.
I
that
like
would,
that thinking.
that would presume we were getting some ad revenue, and I'm going to say that half pint sure looks delicious.
Oh, you know what? It is as invisible as it is.
Yes,
Cheers to you, Jim.
that's a good effect. Oh, I should have used my water, but yeah. I was thinking of getting a beer, but it's yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, we can.
I want to stay coherent, or as coherent as I can. You know, at my age. But anyway,
So for those, before we get into the meat of it, Jim, for those who have not seen the movie, here is a very high level takedown. And Jim, I'll ask you, Jim, to kind of follow up if I've missed any key elements.
Sure. Okay.
Basically, it starts with them not necessarily, maybe a year or sometime after the last movie. They end up at the White House and then advance to 10 years. There's a montage of them having a wonderful time and, screwing around the White House, a lot of stuff you might have seen in trailers. Then they're obviously getting into a rut. Now, it is 10 years later. Abigail Breslin's character, Little Rock.
Yes.
Little Rock is now a young woman.
I
She's
wrote them
going to
all
be
down
in her
here.
early mid-20s.
20s, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's like thinking about boys. Tallahassee, Woody Harrelson, he's playing the overprotective, out of touch, not picking up the play father in that relationship. Meanwhile, Wichita and Columbus, Emma Stone and Jesse Eisenberg are, getting quite domesticated, which of course is making her nervous. He proposes, Wichita and Little Rock take off. Tallahassee and Columbus are bummed and everything's starting to kind of wind down. Then they meet someone else. Her character's name is, she's Zoey Deutch, the pretty blonde kind of dingling.
Madison.
That's definitely how she's written. But yeah, Madison. And at least they keep with their naming convention. Everyone's
I was going to say,
yeah. But they have sex, and then the third act starts with Wichita coming back. The two who have taken off now, the other one, Little Rock, has taken off with a boy, and what a boy he is. So that kind of kicks us off into the second act. We've got a little bit of anger and emotional tension between Wichita and between Jesse Eisenberg's character and Emma Stone's character. Columbus and Wichita, we get moments of arguing. It's a lot of the same stuff they did last time, but they have a mission. They have a very clear mission.
Yes.
Go find Little Rock. That's the big thing here. And then all of a sudden they get rid of Madison. She presumably a zombie. They get rid of her. They end up meeting like clones of theirs on the road.
Yep.
This is about the halfway point of the movie. And Rosario Dawson's character Nevada comes into play.
Yep.
We get almost or practically a cameo, two good sequences with Luke Wilson and what is the other
Thomas
dude's
Middleditch.
name? Here, let's I've got a ticker.
I say Middle Church, but I think it's Middleditch. He's from Silicon Valley.
There we go. Thomas Middleditch. You were correct. Yeah, so this Thomas Middleditch character is kind of a clone of and they called him Flagstaff. That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
He's kind of a clone of
Jesse
of
Eisenberg.
Columbus, and meanwhile the Luke Wilson, what was it called? Tex? Might have been just text. Eh?
I think it wasn't it a I wrote down everything else, but
I got the cast list here, but I don't think it's
it wasn't Phoenix.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
So they're there for it's just a little weird kind of set piece of clones fighting each other later, because of course something goes awry, they become zombies, but they're in the movie for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Then they find out, at least they'd already found out where the boy called Berkeley, and he's a hippie, a dope smoking hippie, anti-violence, blah, blah, blah. They get some right-wing nonsense out. They end up at this Babylon where all these hippies are in like a bunker enclave thing where they're
pacifist.
Pacifist hippies, where they're just, it's all just dope smoking and free love, but no group sex.
And they melt down all their guns to make peace
immediately. Like literally, the forge is forever going. And then everybody catches up with each other. Meanwhile, there's the we only see a couple of them, just enough to know they exist and we've seen them. There's this super zombie that's allegedly smarter, although they don't look like they're that smart. But just a kind of World War Z zombies. That's who they were. Super fast and ravenous and unrelenting. And so they have to have a final battle. And I'm not giving the third act anything more than that.
Yeah.
In part because, and this is almost a mirror, in my impression, almost like a mirror of the problems of Overlord. Not a bad couple of acts. They roll on charm, but that third act, it was almost like once they reached the point where Abigail and Breslin's character, Little Rock and Tallahassee had kind of, she rejected the Berkeley boy as being a poser.
Yeah.
Oh, some lazy writing there. and they had resolved their issues and they're, together emotionally. It was like, they're like, do we got enough? We'll just give it, it's almost like a TV writer's room. They're like, give it to the intern. Bring back the third act over the weekend or you're fired.
Yeah.
I don't make any money.
Well, it reminds me of one of the...
good. You owe us. If you do it right, you owe us the money we think you owe us or whatever. That there, I think it's a synopsis. Any key moment I missed there, Jim?
Well, I think that one of the big one of the big parts of it, or probably in the writers' minds, is that the zombies have changed, and this could be just a way to sort of get beyond we need something big for the third act. You can't just have the slow lumbering guys anymore. Maybe they watched some other zombie movies themselves and thought that they needed to improve their models.
Yep.
They did that little thing at the start with the introducing the types of zombies, the Hawking and the Homer and the was there a third one? I can't remember, but
the T-800s. There was
and then those
Homer the Ninja, and then the T-800s later,
Silent and Deadly, and then so I suspect that almost seemed like a writerly conceit, unless you have some evil genius that's making stronger zombies somewhere in the Midwest. I don't know, but I think it was just sort of a way to change it up, maybe.
Well, I don't know if it was changing it up though, as more as it was just like one of my half-baked smart-ass remarks. Like, if I was a critic, I'd be like, well, kind of like I tried to write in the video description, double tap or just double. Like, it just seemed like they were just, we'll just dial up the danger of these zombies because we can't think of a way to really change things up, so they're just more dangerous. Whereas I think, well, I don't know, like, I don't, at the same time, I was like, even as I was kind of questioning some parts, I was like, am I really questioning and I'm sticking with this one, Jim, a zom-com?
Yeah.
Am I really gonna, how far am I gonna take this, right? Like, I mean, maybe I should just, just chill a little and let the movie be the movie, right? But they didn't. There was no like. I felt like and I was actually, even with its, it's not the best thing ever rendered to digital celluloid, but I was enjoying it until that third act, where I really did thought, wow, that's it, eh? Oh, you guys have given up. But they were just riding on the charm of really it's a disturbingly top tier cast, even just for some of the basically upscale cameos. And it's like, wow, this is a good cast. Everyone's enjoying themselves, and they just charm galore and all the interaction. It's like, they looked like they were having fun. And plus,
tons of chemistry.
Woody Harrelson actually sang not just the Elvis song he sung in the bit of the bar, but the last song over the closing credits was an Elvis song, but he sung it. And I was like, as I went through, I was like, hey, I'll be damned, that sounded like a great impersonator. Like, maybe you picked up on it, Jim. You're more the music guy than I am. I was like, oh my God, that is pretty good.
It's not sort of an absolute. I don't even think it's a 100% attempt at mimicry, but it's pretty good. I think he captures the spirit of it, and seems to be having a good time. I thought it was and I suspect at one point you can just throw 4 of them in the room, and the movie writes itself.
Look at this.
Oh yeah,
Richard Lennon liking zom-com.
We got some regulars chiming in. That is a good one. You know what else would be a zom-com? Would be Warm Bodies, wouldn't it?
Oh, Warm Bodies.
Yeah, you have
Shaun of the Dead.
Really?
Absolutely. Actually, I would say Jean.
Between
here, let
Nick
me
Frost
just say hello.
and Simon.
Richard and Katie. Okay. Yeah. No, I think. I would say, although it's closer to Shaun of the Dead, especially if they did a sequel, there's you could even say that, if I were to go, Warm Bodies really took it to another level, and it's like a rom-com.
We're getting into the rabbit hole now.
But definitely, Shaun of the Dead was a comedy with zombies, and it definitely a higher level. Shaun of the Dead was definitely the better movie than even the first one.
I think that stands out as just a great film. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah.
Yeah, it was an outstanding movie. Absolutely.
This one, Double Tap. When we suggested it, I was like, yeah, I might as well see it. I remember enjoying the first one. We finally have the summary weather in Winnipeg to the rest of the world. We have international viewers, that probably
for the last 3 days.
Yeah,
it's been outstanding.
I was actually thinking, this is actually a pretty good summer movie. Not only that, it would make an excellent drive-in movie, if that's your thing. I know the Stardust and the one up in Flin Flon are opening soon, so that's always a plug for an unsolicited plug for both of those entities. But yeah, no, it'd be it is what it is. Again, I think it was just sort of
but for those who need we are soliciting plugs.
There we go.
More than happy for a very small fee.
Sure,
your
message could use a half pint.
Oh yeah, we might actually properly label it so it didn't look like it was disappeared. Although, damn, doesn't that look cool?
It's
like I'm 5 years old. Play with the gizmo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I have any
what did you think, though? What was your take on it in general? Are you buying my?
No, I am.
I'm still here.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Just on full here.
No, I quite enjoyed it. It strikes me as we keep on doing more of these things that I would be a horrible film critic because I like everything. You know, I sort of when Justin Timberlake does an impression of Robin Gibb, and he's just like, I have nothing to, not that I have nothing to say, but like, yeah, it was good. But I think I don't know. I know the movie gets written before everything comes together and it gets shot on the set and stuff like that. But I suspect that that maybe to a certain extent, the cast almost took over this one. I didn't have as many problems with the third act as you did. I was pretty engaged through most of it. I had some issues with it, like with everything. But I felt like the cast was almost like, Can you imagine if this was done by people you'd not seen before? It might not even register, but these people have such strong sort of on-screen personas, and they got the chops.
I hate using the word, but I think it's appropriate here. They all had chemistry. They looked like they're having a good time together. They had nice little set pieces. Like, I'm not even talking about the action. There was one where otherwise it's just like in any other, the bit where they meet their clones. Luke Wilson's facing off with Woody Harrelson as the mimic loudmouth rednecks. And then Jesse Eisenberg and Mr. Middleditch, Thomas, Columbus and Flagstaff, they're kind of passive aggressively facing off.
Yeah.
And Emma Stone's whole bit during it is like, am I being punked here? Her whole shtick. It's almost like they wrote that because they're like, now's an opportunity to make, like, everyone got a little showpiece that just, they're like, we'll just set this and Emma will spike it and everyone will like it when she's commenting on it. Yeah. But I do think that was, like, because it is an action movie, I'm not saying that they didn't improvise anything, but because it's such an action-oriented movie, that's not a lot of just the stars going whatever. Plus, too much cooperation was required. Like you got some, again, like real names in every goddamn scene until Babylon, really.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and I'm super happy. You can almost see that cynical Hollywood thing where they might have replaced, Abigail Breslin or, and it's like, but nope, they rolled with it and everyone was charming and yeah.
And
don't get me wrong, like I still think it just really, like, they ran out of gas. Like, they're like, oh, well, we got to end it somehow. We'll end it like we did in the last movie. Just this time with fireworks,
Yeah.
But it was still, I watched it right to the end. I'm glad. I was pulling for relationships that they had going, that they set up, and it was all really kind of cool. I liked that, that they didn't kill off the Madison character or turn her bad. I don't know about you, Jim. I was convinced it's like, she's come back as a zombie. He didn't kill her.
Yeah,
he chickened out or whatever, but he did not.
I think that goes along with his character, that he would weasel out of something like that.
But I'm glad she wasn't a zombie that came back as the bad guy. Like that she, and it. I like the way that worked out. I was okay with that. I didn't like, it's a nice, sweet little comedy. I don't want to see any of them. Like, I was okay with the clones dying, but
I don't know how you would even, like, I was thinking to myself, are they going to kill off Woody Harrelson? Are they going to, but the whole point is them having this sort of, this little group of people there. I have to say though, that Zoey Deutch, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, as the Ditzy Madison character she was so funny, and it's kind of being the almost like the Valley Girl type that can be kind of a hard role to be given to do anything with. Like they even had it in the trailer, that binoculars thing where she has it turned and that's an old gag and it's not very funny. But she was like
leaned into it.
And she sort of did a fresh little take on it. She didn't think that he was small, but she was just like, oh, you're big. Oh, you're small. Oh, you're big.
You're
oh, you're
so small. Oh, wait. Well, and I would say
this, then he gave her the finger and he kind of laughed at it. But she was, I found her character really kind of engaging and almost in that Legally Blonde kind of way that people are taken by Reese Witherspoon kind of,
Well, I think part of it is because she pushed back just enough. She called them on their crap. Like when you're just, because you know what, that character can become immediately detestable almost if they're either, well, rarely that character is too weak. They're just too dumb. They're written so dumb that they're not even aware of the sarcasm of the, that she, after a while, she's like, oh, wait a second. I don't like that. You're being a dick. And I think that she just had just enough of that you were like kind of, oh, it's kind of sweet, in a ding dong kind of way. As long as, again, it's a zombie movie, it's a zom-com, you don't want to go too deep into, because I was thinking of Overlord, which is a lot more serious. It is more of a sci-fi horror movie, where we were both going, how the hell did that kid survive 5 years of German occupation? Meanwhile, and I was thinking of that, and then I'm like, well, it's all kind of ridiculous. Although I still wonder how those hippies survived.
Well, there's so much sort of what's the suspension of disbelief with any of this. Most genres, most of the big explosion that they had in the end that they thought would level the entire army of zombies, that would have taken them out too, by the way. They were about 20 feet away from it, right? So, and there's little things like that you think, God. But
nothing exciting about seeing an explosion that's like, puff.
Just
30 seconds later, bang. Wow, that was that would have been impressive, Bill, if we were down there.
Yeah, exactly. What was I going to say now? Here's, I don't know do you know anything about Zoey Deutch?
I don't. I do not.
She's the daughter of Leah Thompson.
Shut up.
Nope.
Really?
Yeah. Howard
Wow.
Deutch, the director, and Leah Thompson. And so a little Back to the Future connection there.
That's why her hair was so lovely. Another thing, it was kind of, how the hell?
Well, and maybe
nobody needs a haircut here, because of course now we're in COVID lockdown. Where everyone's either getting their own haircut or just letting it grow.
See, the problem with doing a video chat like this about movies is to do the proper research, you probably need to watch 8 or 9 movies, and then this one to properly comment. But
that's why it's just
from the hip.
Exactly. We're not, this isn't Wisecrack, folks. We're not diving deep in. We're not, it'd only be by accident that we ever quote Nietzsche.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's a good. But I mean, in terms of where this is in the zombie movie firmament, we talk about Overlord. I don't think we should super prominent.
Speak to it.
Super prominent. You have on one hand you have World War Z, which was kind of serious. Then you have the English ones, the 28 Days Later, not to be confused with 28 Days, which was the Sandra Bullock drying out movie.
Which I thought I saw it, and I was kind of moved by it.
There's no zombies in this, but
it came out a little before.
And then if you're a Walking Dead fan, if you're The Walking Dead, those ones are deadly serious. And I mean, there's a few moments of, there's the occasional moment of levity, but they're always punished immediately. You'll see somebody laugh, and the first person who laughs is going to get it next. I mean, that's typically what happens. Yeah, that's what you
get for enjoying life.
Yeah, exactly. And there was one scene in particular where I think for people who watch it, Glenn and Maggie were messing around with back when they lived in the prison, and then they got found out, and everyone they saw, their heads kind of came, where are Glenn and Maggie? And their heads popped up, and they went, what's that? And then they all got attacked by zombies.
Yeah.
So, it's
and that's, I think, and who knows, maybe I never got into the Walking Dead, the TV shows. Nothing about them appealed to me. And the more I learned about them, the less they appealed. Oh, excuse me. Partly, I think it is when I think of The Walking Dead, Jim, that unrelenting misery and just pure survival. That never have a goal, never are looking for that, hey, this will end, or hey, this is where we'll make our stand and we're going to build something or anything. It's all just, well, one more day of survival. And after a while, why would I like any of you? Even the ones you like, you can't pull for them to achieve anything, which is fine in a sitcom. Rarely is there even Rick and Morty, but otherwise rarely there's blood at the end. Even won't get into Game of Thrones. That said, at least in all that death and everything, it was going to a goal. Where it, did it stumble in the last season? Yes, it did. Or perhaps just got how much. Let the intern write it.
Oh, there's so many castles or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know, Mrs. Grimapple.
Why are there so many characters? What were we
You
thinking?
guys just said I would learn it by getting coffee. I haven't learned anything.
All I wanted to do was work in the mailroom.
That's what they said. You started the mailroom. With all these smelly weirdo writers. I like there's never a goal there. It's and just that unrelenting misery. Whereas your typical zombie movie, beginning, middle, and end, and even if it ends on a down note with a character you've liked, you've enjoyed dying, or there's kind of an idea of they still, like, I'm thinking of Dawn of the Dead and how that ended so well. With that's still an idea of hope, it's like, hey, they did get away. They were forced out of an awesome place to, hide in. But, whereas all these others, it's, or all these TV shows, it's like, oh, that's miserable. And it's a television show. So it's got to have a certain level of melodrama. I don't think it's appropriate for the genre.
There
we go. Hashtag pretense.
I did.
How thick can Rob lay it on for a zombie movie?
With anything, these stories that are offered to us, that whether they're movies or TV shows, there's always something that you can take away from it. Where I did stall out about the 8th season with The Walking Dead. And I might go back to it at some point. There's so much good TV on, and so many things to watch, and so many streaming services. I almost forgot how to get Zombieland too, because it was like, okay, Netflix, okay, it's not on that one. Okay, Hoopla, okay, nope. Canopy, nope.
Not really Canopy speed.
No. Exactly. But I couldn't.
Between the 24 half hours on philosophy, the great questions, and Zombieland double tap.
Indonesian architecture. No, that's not it. But I'm sort of only half kidding about that one. But so we watched it on Amazon Prime, I should mention. But that reminds me, I do want to ask you about one of their features there. But there's always something in everything you watch. There's always something to take away. Whether it's
we go, Jim. This is my background, and it can be yours too.
Oh, there you go. You're multitasking.
Yeah.
With The Walking Dead, there was one episode called "He's Not Here." It was a 90-minute two-hander with just essentially two characters. There's a few at the start and a few at the end. It's one of the best episodes of television that I think I've seen in the last 10 years, maybe.
Really?
It's just a real tight two-hander, right? And it just happens to be part of a television series, but it's like one of the great Law and Order episodes that might have been in the first 5 seasons, or just one of those things that you just go, whoa, I got to see, where you keep it on the PVR because you may not watch it again, but you just want to have it there in case, and then there's been moments in even Fear the Walking Dead. There's a Canadian actor and a former First Nations ballet dancer, Michael Grey Eyes. He's in his 40s now, but he played a First Nations character from the States, and there's a great sort of
looking this young man up. 40-year-old man up.
Yeah, I think he's about 45 but
so he's a peer of ours.
What's that? Oh yeah,
he's a peer of ours.
He's a
one
fellow
of our contemporaries. Okay, not a peer, a contemporary.
Yes, yeah. But
anyway,
there's some really great moments in these things, but overall, sometimes they do, especially the serious zombie stuff, very nihilistic. It feels almost like, and they would
Plains Cree from the Muskeg Lake First Nation.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
And I think he went out east in Toronto and Montreal and stuff to dance, but 20 years ago. But it's that's where I think something like Zombieland comes in, because it's about this stuff and it sort of embraces that nihilism, but at the same time it makes fun of it, and it can be fun, even though when you think about it, it's like shooting a bunch of it's that Star Wars thing where you're shooting an army of robots, right? So it can't be, there's no moral judgment there. You're shooting something that's essentially dead. I think that's one of the sort of benefits of zombies, right? Is that it's not a fellow human you're shooting. It was a
look at that smoldering young man.
He had a great part. There's this one episode where he fights with the other two people that he went into town. They have these little towns, went into town with, and he says, "I'm out of this. I'm done." And he's walking down this Mexican highway.
Is it shot in Canada? No.
It's shot mostly in Mexico, I think. And then the car rolls up to him, and just wordlessly he gets back into the truck, and then they take off. And it just there's no matter. It's almost the case, except for reality TV, where almost everything you watch, there's some redeeming characteristic, some redeeming moment, a good actor. The composer does a good job, something like. There's always something to take away from everything you watch. That's sort of my philosophy. But
here's,
and if there isn't, you're in trouble.
Here's an interesting talking about where it was shot. There's a great early comment, when you post on Facebook and that, and where it's what's going on. And I don't know if you ever met her, Jim, but she went to Dakota. And was maybe a year behind us, but Sheila Fields here. She now lives in Georgia, and I guess as she says, both in the town just outside of. I think she's just outside of Atlanta. I suppose I could look it up, but it was filmed in Noonan, Georgia. I even like that Noonan, Georgia. Something, and I want to say Macon County, but that could be just me mushing the entire American South.
No, I think there was
movies, but there was a county was thanked in the So that was kind of cool. There's our Sheila Fields is our Winnipeg Hawk.
Hi, Sheila.
This whole movie series, this whole franchise.
Yeah, you're much better at keeping those high school contacts than I've been, but and apparently that
no, it's the high school contacts that are better at keeping in touch with me. I don't want to take any credit. Yeah, no, Sheila's a brick.
Oh yes. And apparently the hipster, the Babylon apartment building at the end there, that apparently is a real building. It's a hotel that from the web, I don't know how accurate this is, has gone out of business. So it's an abandoned hotel.
Okay, one of those developer the development too far.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Perhaps literally. And they're like, no one's gonna live out here. We got the financing. We're making this thing happen.
Whoever guessed that this North Korean company would drop the ball on building a gigantic hotel
that floats.
Yeah,
You know? What did you? Yeah, like I don't know if you got a chance to look at any of the critics and the critics' reviews, the general critic consensus. One did and this was like, honest to God, just a quick scan on Rotten Tomatoes, but it was just one of those aside comments about, how did the writer put it? Actually, you know what? I do have I've got zombie the page up. Let me see if I can't find it. All right, who cares? I don't care about that. Oh, come on.
And, it's weird what they use as their quotes, as their takeaways from some of the critics there. You know, sometimes it seems super germane, and sometimes they use a quote that makes it seem like they hated it, and it's still got a fresh tomato. Sometimes they have a quote that's like, this movie was great, and it's just the splat. I sort of don't get that.
I think some of it, though, Jim, is and that's why that's why I kind of like looking at Metacritic as well, because they actually kind of characterize a little better I mean, it's still a judgment call, but both are. They kind of hide behind numbers, but it's still a human being kind of rating them. Or using whatever rating the critic actually uses. So you can find a couple of standout positive comments, but it's barely a 3 and a 5, a 3 out of a 5, which is almost, so I think that's where there's still that bit of that body English of the reviewing. So, because some of it's, and even some of them, it's like, no, it's not a good movie. Now let me sing. I will sing its praises. But one, and maybe I must have saw it somewhere else. It was something about some smart remark about how did it go here? I'll spend an hour looking for it. It was, Jim, a comment on most sequels aren't necessary. This one really wasn't necessary. All I could think was, I don't know, was the first movie necessary? Is any movie necessary?
Yeah.
You're reviewing a movie called Zombieland. So there's that kind of if there's a movie that would be friendly to sequels, it's this kind of movie. It is kind of, they're still in the post-apocalyptic world. You still got some, and I'm not talking about Walking Dead opportunities, but you still got stuff you can do in that space, you know, especially if they all lived. Well, it's not like it all of a sudden magically got better, you know? So I was like, well, that's a little snide.
Yeah, I mean, I took a look at some of the reviews,
and
as
it's
well,
easy. Oh, sequels aren't necessary. They're always worse. It's like, I hate that easy chestnut.
Most of them said, doesn't really take the story very far, but it sure is fun. And it seemed in a lot of cases it did get a fresh rating. Not by a lot. What is it? 60? No. Is it 60 or 65%?
I want to say 65, but I'm right here.
It had
68.
So that's just over the.
But they didn't give it the certified fresh. They may not have gotten enough thumbs up from the big name. They have their top critic tier, and I think it's got to get so many tomatoes or fresh ratings
and
from
the
them.
Chuckleheads, Cat Fancier magazine and Field and Stream and things like that.
Transcribe some of our crap so that we can get on that list as critics.
That's true.
Why not? Why not?
But most
Why
of them,
should we be denied?
I think most of the people just sort of looked at this as a fun hour and a half at the movies, Yeah, just were, people had the critics, some of the critics that had something against it. It was 1 or 2 points that said, "Oh, it just didn't do it for me. Wasn't dying for a sequel. It's 10 years later." But the rest, the people that liked it seemed to be willing to overlook its failings.
And they all aged well.
Oh yeah.
Like you're buying the 10 years, but you're not going. But I wonder what has been another recent sequel where it really was, or maybe not a sequel, it was a reboot. And now I'm gonna maybe talk out of the other side of my mouth, but I think I can knit this shit, Jim. I can knit this shit together.
Okay.
There was a lot of criticism of Charlie's Angels.
Okay.
The most recent one. And I agree with one wag who's like, who the hell asked for this movie? Who asked for a reboot of Charlie's Angels? Now, I could have said, and I might have said it about the first actual true feature length one with Carmen Diaz and Lucy Liu and Drew Barrymore. Who the hell asked for this? That said, it looked like they had a sense of fun about it, which is how they were able to get another movie out of it.
Yeah.
But even then, what did that come out in 2000? Even then, it was like, oh, this is, I'm not feeling comfortable. Like Charlie's Angels, the television show, I don't quite now, mind you,
was
obviously not a woman, but I mean, even then, it was like you didn't need to get much older to kind of go, that was really backhanded sexist. Yes, they were
talking about it's girl power.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They might as well have all been smoking. You're a modern woman now.
As a
with lung cancer and heart disease that goes along with it. But
as a former 8-year-old avid viewer of it,
and as was I. I'm not talking about when it was on, but that's also maybe what I am talking about. It was appealing to. That was a television show made for guys under the guise of. Ooh, see what I did there? Witty wordplay. Yeah. I like the way, trailing off. But yeah, that was not made, as an empowering. Although I suspect, kind of like certain reincarnations of Wonder Woman, where a lot of like young girls growing up, at least it was. They were driving the story. I don't think they ever had a romance. Like, did any of them ever have a romance? It might actually be. It might have passed the Bechdel test. I'm not sure.
That would be an they used their wiles and flirted with people to get information.
But they could still, get into it. They were never
karate
because they're all
I think that's
remember that first original silhouette look from the 70s.
Yeah. Mom, this show's making me feel funny.
So back to this though. I don't. No one was asking for it, but the original, like you can tell, the original's aged well because it really isn't. It's still just a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
It would not pass the Bechdel test.
Which one? Sorry.
Yeah, it wouldn't pass the Bechdel test. The women have to talk about men. They can't. It can't. Their lives can't be revolving around boys.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, they literally are.
Yes.
Every woman's the whole thing is around some guy.
Yeah, that's true. I can. I can see it in the case.
They rationalize Zoey Deutch's character. Hers just listen. I haven't gotten any in years.
Yeah.
Will do. So that at least it's I guess you could say, well, she's owning her sexuality,
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise like
for the little raw character it was about boys, but it was also about leaving
growing
the nest, growing up, and she doesn't get college.
her
right?
conflict
So-
with her father.
Yes, yeah, the whole separation
So
thing.
yet another guy.
Well, that's and that's
Nobody
another
has
thing.
a mom.
That's okay. Two things that I wanted to bring up. What do you watching this is a little bit off topic, but watching Amazon Prime, I think the feature's called X-ray, and you can put your mouse
Yes.
over it or whatever, and it gives you a little it's almost like pop-up videos from Much Music, if you remember those.
Yep.
What do you think of that? Is that that's sort of right up my angle, but it's also super distracting. So I'm I know
you know
people would
what?
say it takes you out of it.
Whoops,
but,
sorry, man.
that's okay.
I think I don't. The only time I've actually used it is when I'm accidentally, like I just press the wrong button.
Yeah.
But just I get myself back on. I'm gonna quickly just make a quick comment to Canon.
Yeah.
Little firmware update so that the screen will stay on past half an hour would be greatly appreciated.
Oh yes.
Okay. So anyway, back to what were you saying there?
The feature, the X-ray feature on Amazon Prime.
The other way I do use it. Okay, now that we've been doing this, Jim, I am looking for act breaks. In like I'm very conscious about it now. So at certain key moments, I'm pausing it to kind of see where we are in the story, and you know, it's like, how far off. Not to say that an act must come at 25 minutes in a 100-minute movie. No, I'm not that. But it's always nice to kind of see, well, where are they at? Because every story, like 5 minutes in, what it has to accomplish. What beats it's got to hit, or and how many it misses is really going to tell you how good or bad this movie is going to be, right? So I use it for that. And sometimes an interesting thing will be there, but otherwise because that's been on Google Play Movies for.
Oh, has it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it's kind of, do you really want that feed? Or are you so into the celebrities that you're like, oh, I've got to now. Okay. All right. Now I'm really talking on my ASS. What it is a lot of detail. There's like a couple of scenes where I'm like, who the hell are they? Earlier in the movie, and I'm like, oh, well, you know what? Those zombies are actors, and they got to get their thing in from IMDb. It was like, it was. I was trying to let that first act break, and but otherwise, like, wait till the end of the movie. I guess you're scanning through the movie because you're like, who played that role? Yeah. Well, then you can kind of, because after the fact, and you can pause, and if the database is properly populated, it'll come up. Let me ask you this though, Jim. Is it like you do a bit of research for these things, right? And although Abigail Breslin got first billing on posters.
Oh yeah.
She didn't actually get first billing. The pre-title title cards were Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, and Jesse Eisenberg. Okay. She was the first in the post, but still in the post title cards, and there was others in there, and it was like you could almost. And this actually leads me to another thing that is really starting to bother me is you can have, like, in Netflix or any of these streaming services, it's like, who the hell selects which stars I'm going to be shown? Yeah. Because sometimes they'll just cut the woman out entirely, even though she's in the center of the movie poster. It's like,
are you talking about the little? Are you talking about the thumbnails that they have on the
you'll have the thumbnails.
Sometimes they're wildly bad. They just don't.
Well, some of it they're A/B testing us and that, but I'm talking in the movie poster, like you recognize it from other sources that they've got there, and then but the cast they show you because they think that's what's gonna, like, it's part of what drives film choices, absolutely. But it's like, does no one watch? Like, I mean, there was a woman there. You can see her in the poster, right?
There was one that was entirely about women. Like it was like.
Can I gotta figure out how to aim myself. Oh wait, there you go. Look, there's a woman in the poster.
Oh yes. Okay. There was one like Little Women or something, and it showed a man, of course. And I was just looking at it, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I almost took a picture of it because I think they rotate a little bit, but it reminds me of Principal Skinner's line to Bart when he's using Bart to cover up his relationship with Krabappel, and he says they're going into the movie theater. He goes, "You'll like this one. It has Tom Berenger," which is based on zero knowledge of what a 7-year-old boy or a 10-year-old boy would like, or however old Bart is.
Just kind of an assumption that Tom Berenger plays with the kids.
Yeah,
the kids go crazy over Tom Berenger.
He's wild on the street. But the other thing too that it occurs to me is that whether it's TV or movies, virtually everything that I'm watching, it seems these days, there's some exceptions, of course, everything rotates back to some kind of community, or this is the family we have. We just finished watching Community on Netflix.
Oh, like the family of choice.
Yeah, just the sort of the your later life family. Yeah, family of choice, I guess. And so much, like, you can sit there and you can think that virtually everything that you watch is about, well, it's, in that it's about relationships, but if it's not about, community is a little broader and a looser term, but there's so many things that are, this is our family. We're family now. And it's usually, 4 or 5 or 6 disparate people telling themselves their family. And that seems to be like a super common thing these days that I don't know that you would have seen maybe 20 years ago or something like that. I haven't done a study of it, so I'm just throwing it out there, sort of spitballing, but
I think you might have, and I was thinking about this, Jim, before we came up, and I'm like, I would say this is a pretty philosophically light movie. And unlike Shaun of the Dead, which was really kind of subtle, like a subtle but solid,
so good
critiques on. It's just,
when he wakes up hungover and he's going to the store, he slips in blood and doesn't even notice. And...
Well, because he's just he's the zombie among zombies, and how everyone just repeats their old activities, and they're all very consumerist and like everyone's just kind of in their own zone.
Yeah.
This one does, although I doubt its intent. Like, it is about, American, like, Hollywood films really love just a few philosophies, let's say, a few meanings. And one of them is the importance of the family. And because we are in such an individual, like almost hyper individualist context, especially in the United States. Not that we're that far off, but certainly more individualist, or they're more individualist than we are, and also I think that kind of idea that you get, and it almost goes back to that North American view of choice and the freedom to choose, where we all have issues with our parents and we're all got to choose the family because we've been rejected or something. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, and that, families of choice are, important as well. And, well, heck, everyone uses blood is thicker than water in that, it's about family. And it's like, no, it was the blood of, like, it got flipped around. It was the blood of battle is thicker than the womb's water. It was the friends you made, the brothers you made in battle. And I'm, you could almost say this is a modern take on it, but partly also, and maybe this is another, and I'm just thinking out loud here, but because we're so much more aware of abuse in a family, that its prevalence is way wider. Such a higher prevalence than we thought 50 years ago, even 40 or even 30. Like that all these characters, like they all have some sort of a reason not to be with their family. And even it looked like Jesse Eisenberg's character in a cold family that really never acknowledged.
Yeah.
You know, like he was just kind of, I got forgotten about. The dish rag, the loner dish rag was forgotten about. But the others where they were, there's a hint at an issue, or, you know, and so I think if there's a theme of the movie, like on the nose family, but also there's something subtler going on, and maybe not on purpose, but it capturing a part of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Because there's like, I mean, it can be just a regular romantic comedy, or well, what do you think is causing that? Am I overanalyzing it?
No,
like,
no,
really
I think,
overanalyzing it.
No, I think that there's you know, probably quite a desire for something like.
Oh my God, my hands disappeared.
But I think there's quite
anymore, Jim. I feel like I'm at the end of a great Futurama where it's the vast emptiness.
But I think there's something in the water there. I think people are feeling. We got visitors from Kuwait.
Oh, Jelly Duck.
Do you know who that is?
Oh, look at this. Here, we got to say hello to Mr. Ahoy.
Yeah. So no, I think.
You're back on. You're back on. You're the main attraction right now.
I am. Okay.
Oh my goodness! Check that. Now that Jelly Duck looks like a guy to hang out with.
Oh, I know.
Can you see his picture there, Jim? That is awesome.
Yeah. What's the shirt? What's on the shirt there? I can't.
Well, it looks.
Maybe we can ask
somebody's kind of
Hey,
screaming,
Duck,
but we'll find out. Oh, invisible drink law. Okay. Says hi there, Rob. Hello. Okay, just let me say, ahoy, Jelly Duck. Bear with me.
Going international again.
What's on the shirt?
Oh, Akira. Okay.
Oh, Akira. All right. Well, now we know. So Jelly Duck is hailing to us from Kuwait.
That's awesome.
Which is super cool.
Yeah.
And apparently Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead are a couple of his favorite zom-coms. See zom-com, hashtag zom-com.
I'll get on. I'll do that right now.
Jelly Duck gets it.
Here, I'll get, maybe see if we can. I wonder if I'll do a little check anyway. But do you know Jelly Duck?
I do. Well, you know what?
Sorry, I shouldn't put you on the spot.
No, that's great. I'm not. I think he joined us in the first one. I'm trying to remember. Oh no, no. Oh no. I know him. Oh, wait a second. This is how I know him. Him and I are connect. God damn it! For whatever reason, Just a sec here.
How's it going in Kuwait there, Jelly Duck?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how.
For some reason, my camera just keeps crapping out. I'm going to put you fully on.
It's overheating.
And I do know Jay Lippman. I know Jay Lippman. Jay Lippman is this dude who he is a video editor, and we both are subscribers to his YouTube channel and get involved on some of his live streams. So that's how we know each other. And my goodness, I'm finally back. There we go.
Hello from Winnipeg. It's a balmy 22 degrees here, JD.
JD, oh, that's a good one.
You're out of focus. I don't know if
I can fix that. let me get on that here. Let me deal with that.
Jerry Todd. But
I know what happened. Oh, wasn't my for crying out loud. There we go.
Well, Rob figures that out. I'll just read out. Jelly Duck says, "I'm still awake at 6:45 a.m." Means he hasn't gone to bed.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Making short rotoscope animation.
Really? Oh, we got to get him to to hook us up with like help us out with some sort of cool logo for us.
Rob uses an awesome webcam. I did a homemade one. I think it's made out of Lego and old glasses. So I'll have to-
or Jelly Duck, I'm using Canon M50, and I also have it connected to an AverMedia capture card, the AverMedia Ultra, going USB 3. So it's an external gizmo, and I love it. I'm not sure if you caught the play earlier. I really do need Canon to step up and update the firmware. That's my story. Sorry, where were we? Oh, Jelly Duck, have you seen? Jelly Duck, you let us know if you've seen Double Tap yet, and if you have, give us a hot take on it, man. We're open to that. So back to you, Jim.
Yeah, so just we were talking about family, the role of family in sort of modern culture. I think it does speak to something that, like any kind of trend, it's speaking to something. So even when you're watching a kind of a not Community, but there's other sitcoms out there that are kind of
you on there, yeah,
a little bit lamer, a little bit shallower, and they're always making overtures that there's some sort of family, and this is our real family, and this is these people that gather in this donut shop are a family, and that sort of thing. So I think it's almost like
donut shop brought us together.
Exactly, and I think. And there's stand-in fathers and stand-in sons and sort of faux parents and everything, like Guardians of the Galaxy had that whole setup in the last one, and even something like Lodge 49, which I've brought up in the past, that was sort of about a substitute family, right, for people that were kind of shattered in Southern California by the death of the father of the family and the early death of the mother. But anyway, so I think it all. We got another person chiming in here.
Nope.
Zombieland is our Christmas tradition. I guess it was was it a Christmas release? Like, was the first one Christmas as well?
Whoops. I can't remember. That'll have to be. You know what, Stephanie? Why don't you let us know if that was? Why is it your Christmas tradition? I think that's the key question we have to ask here.
The what was I going to say here? Drop-ins. I had a few other notes. I enjoyed the Paul Blart reference.
Even the. I mean, it was the Paul Blart reference. Yeah, go ahead.
I liked the Portishead reference. That was very mid-90s. And their little chat, I thought it was Portishead.
Or even her, or Portisheed.
Yeah, exactly. And the one thing that they never talk about, and I can probably see why, is that there was a line at the when they were in the mall just before they found Madison. Is that me? Oh, I think it's a street cleaner driving by my house. Sorry, I thought something was landing on my house. But can you hear that?
No.
Okay, good.
We'll look at it. I'll look at it in post.
Jesse Eisenberg's character talks about the smell. He goes, I don't know, but I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but Zealand smells horrible. I guess that's why I like candles so much, or something. And then he turns around and that was that's
and a woman who smells more like what coconut something, and
So I think that's, when you do one of these movies, you're hitting upon things that maybe haven't been touched upon before.
Yeah.
In the whole rest of the over, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Jelly Duck has a question.
Well, yeah, we got first of all, Stephanie has advised. Yeah, this one was, it was Christmas because it came out late October, right? So definitely part of that Christmas kind of season.
And they have their whole Christmas sequence.
Yeah.
Where he's wrapping,
exactly.
wrapping gifts in old portraits of the presidents.
I wonder if that's So Stephanie and Ray and the little boy Theodore will be part of their Christmas family tradition. We'll all get together.
Yes.
Dirty old man will play Santa for them with beer tins in the Christmas tree. Jelly Duck is Jelly Duck. I believe it does. As a matter of fact, we went even further and call it a zom-com. Although there's certainly so yes, that's a firm yes. Does warm bodies include zom-com? I yeah. As far as I'm concerned, Jim may feel differently. He's a communist.
What?
What if you were to, like, was there anything like that took you out of the movie badly, Jim, or was it all pretty solid as far as you're concerned?
I sort of think that I was
apparently my stream is stuttering, but that could also just be I'm too busy hitting the desk.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And screwing around with the focus. Thanks for advising on that. Oh, yeah, there we go. It is to be part of their family tradition.
Oh yeah, well
they'll move to France. All kind of go. Let's have the best of North American culture. Please, my French friends, come. We'll have a bit of North America now and watch Zombieland Double Tap.
Well,
right.
that's a good one. There's yeah. I was trying to think of other Christmas movies that you don't necessarily equate with Christmas. You know, Die Hard has sort of become one of the bigger Christmas movies. You know, and I think it was initially supposed to be a
Nightmare Before Christmas,
but then it came out in the summer. Just it had been delayed or something to that effect. So I remember seeing it in the theaters in the summer and thinking,
which movie?
Wow, Die Hard.
Was it? Did it come out in the summer?
Yeah,
I think it come out in the fall.
I remember.
You know what? We have the internet here.
Oh. We got a lull. But
well,
yeah,
I think it was like
out of
caught the play. I was too busy playing with, because I can't help but touch this, play with touch this gizmo, play with the focus, and then be assertive on the table that the camera's sitting on.
I think you should be.
That's how I roll, Jim.
Studying how to juggle at the same time. Just there.
Okay.
Nothing really took me out of the movie. No, sometimes I don't. You know, in comedies, you get a sense that their friends are dropping in for a scene, and I think it would have been interesting to have the Thomas Middleditch and the Owen Wilson, or not Owen Wilson, sorry, the other Wilson character brother, Luke Wilson, thank you. In it for
was it?
For
did I keep?
Longer.
You're right. It was Owen Wilson. And I kept referring to.
No, this was Luke.
I think this was Luke. Okay,
yeah.
Right. And Owen Wilson, he usually plays more of the his Californian cousin.
Yeah.
California surfer dude cousin. Yeah.
When Ed Norton does the impression of him on the Midnight Coterie of the Sinister Intruders, he's like, "Oh wow!" So we always quote that.
Wow. And he's got that really deliberate wow.
And a nasal, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the neighbors are trying to kill us.
Oh, somebody's hitting the notification bell. Now, this is where we need some sort of over-the-top effect, Jim.
Oh, okay.
It means he's subscribed and he's hitting the notification bell so that he's advised when we have another show.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool.
This is why. Jelly Duck, you the man.
Yeah.
All right.
I gotta get a Twitter account for this going for this event.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We should. So I was gonna look. Oh, okay. So we go. When did? I don't know why this has become important to me, but now, Jim, I really do want to know, when did Die Hard come out? I even picked like the loudest keyboard I could use.
We'll do competing research.
July 12th. You were right, Jim.
Yeah.
July 12th, 1988.
Wow.
You know?
Almost 20 years ago.
Almost. It's like, you have an interesting definition of almost.
It's just denial. Somebody said that 1974 was almost 50 years ago. They were talking, and I'm like, oh my God, shut up.
You know. Well, I think we're winding down there, Mr. Tlaboyko. Is there anything else you wanted to you thought was noteworthy before before we start talking about what we're going to watch next week?
I should get
I
more.
have a candidate. And and while we're to anyone who's to the folks that are still watching, anything you think Jim and I should watch, let's comment on it now, and we'll see if that doesn't if it doesn't make the cut for next week. What we will do is we'll do like a poll or something where the highest votes Jim and I'll have to watch anyway. We'll eventually we'll do a poll.
And we do have
we
veto
may
power. Both Rob and I have veto power, so if someone suggests the Human Centipede, for instance, we can.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, let's just say the poll will be comprised with submissions, but not all submissions will make the poll.
There you go.
There we go. It'll all be submissions, but not all submissions will necessarily be chosen for the poll.
So tune in
I think
next
that's
time
pretty
for
solid.
Half Pints, the evening of the movies.
Yeah. But yeah, is there anything you wanna add before?
Oh,
we,
you know what? I was gonna say that the was it the first one that we did was Prospect?
Yes. Yeah, Prospect.
And it had
this is our fifth movie.
Pedro.
Pedro, yes.
What's
Who
his
is
name?
great.
Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, I think so.
He was playing the Walton Goggins character in the table read in Community today of the episode after Pierce's funeral. So I don't know if you were able to catch that, but he played that.
Jelly Duck, we both agree with you. It is. I would even go for there's an F sharp before messed up.
Yeah.
Well deserved. I wouldn't stop you from commenting that. Anyway.
But
sorry,
no, he took over for Waylon.
In the Walking.
No. In Community, they did a table read today, fifth season, 4th episode. So they did a live table read to make raise money for World Central Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
And they had everyone there, and they couldn't get Walton Goggins, who played the executor. I guess he was the one that was over. He made everyone do a lie.
Yeah,
and
he was in Better Call Saul and
Justified.
That other more famous.
He's been in tons of stuff. We're talking about that. Yeah, because it was Ant-Man and the Wasp. He played a bad guy. Anyway, so Pedro Pascal took over for him, and he was hilarious, and it was pretty good. But anyway.
Oh, now I want to see that.
You might be able to find it, but it's also a world fundraising thing for World Central Kitchen. So
okay. Oh, all right. We've got another. I think this is like the second time this has been suggested. Blood Quantum. Oh, yeah. That's got to go on the list, Jim. I don't even think we need for people to vote on it. Yes.
Okay. No. That's
I can. Okay. So for sure. Many thanks, Richard. Yeah, that's a great suggestion, and I think that that's definitely going to make the list. I don't know if we're going to watch it next week, but it'll get watched.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so bold as to say that without even consulting my colleague Jim, that we'll watch it eventually, or in the near future.
2 things I require. I require a flamethrower and a Wendigo reference. And if they don't have that, I'll be upset.
Well, we'll find out. Does Jim get his Wendigo reference?
I've seen so many flamethrowers lately. There's one in Hollywood, and the Leo movie, and there was one in Overlord, which we did. And
here's my candidate, though. Actually, is I'm just throwing it out there. There is a sequel to. Oh, wait a sec. Let me find it here. All right. Okay, so the Norwegian film I saw in preparation for The Wave. was the Ashlad in the Hall of the Mountain King. And I found it, maybe that's what Norway does. They make movies that punch above their weight, both in budget and acting. Like, I mean, it was just, I really enjoyed it. Charming little bauble of a movie. But there is now Ashlad.
Just ignore me. What's the population of Norway?
Come on. I don't know.
No,
It's small. It's like 11 million.
What's the population of Norway phone?
I don't think, you could just click on it, but yeah, I understand. Okay. Now there is the sequel is the Ashlad in search of the Golden Castle. And him and the princess, because their parents are sick, him and the princess have to go on an adventure. And it makes me think of like C.S. Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the Chronicles of Narnia, where they really were like book 1 or book X and book Y are really sequels. And so I'm like, there's my pitch. Nowhere near as cool.
Well, I'd like to watch the first one before I watch, a sequel.
Yeah,
but
well, you should get on that. Well, you got a week to watch both.
Yeah, I got a packed work weeks. Unfortunately, But
Jim's about to start complaining about his job. So,
well, too, I gotta work at the Ledge Wednesday and Thursday night, and so it's a little tight. But we'll talk about it
crank it up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, then, why don't you stick around, Jim, for a quick after show chat. To everyone out there in the chat, thanks so much for participating. Thanks so much for chiming in. Really appreciate your notification bell. Thanks, Stephanie, for bringing some Christmas to May. That was a fun kind of look. Oh, look at this. Richard L. pulling up the stats.
I was going to say 4. It's like Price is Right. What's the price?
I was saying 11.
Okay. 5.31 million, Bob. No.
So thank you all. Jelly Duck. Okay, let's give you.
Thanks, Ruben.
Oh, look at this. Jelly Duck loves her thumbnails. But Jelly Duck, thanks again. And yes, you know what? For our comment for the stream here is damn straight Warm Bodies is included in the zom-com genre. And again, a zom-com rom-com. All right. Okay. We're going to end the broadcast now, folks. But again, thank you very, very much. Well, you know what we'll do. I'm going to try and get a little slicker here, and let's see if we can't, we don't know exactly what we're going to play. So we'll just we'll get this over our thing. And I really should have taken that off. And then let's just crank up the tunes here. Oh, look at that.
See you, JD.
You
Nice
too, Jelly Duck.
Stay warm in Q8.
Okie dokie. And
Vancouver out.
the
Winnipeg out.
broadcast.